And go. You got your self-confidence formula memorized, Randy? No, not yet. Been working on it, though, right? Yeah, right. Is it? Just need to connect up here. What song do you want to hear to get hyped up to this morning, bro? Ready? All right. About to rock this shit. All right, it's on here. Ready? Let's go. Let's get up. Just the three amigos over here. We got Sean online. All right, Sean, we're gonna start with the self-confidence formula. You ready?
Yeah.
Okay. First, I know that I have the ability to achieve the object of my definite purpose in life. Therefore, I demand of myself persistent, continuous action towards its attainment, and I here and now promise to render such action. Second, I realize the dominating thoughts of my mind will eventually reproduce themselves in outward physical action and gradually transform themselves into physical reality. Therefore, I'll concentrate my thoughts for 30 minutes daily upon the task of thinking of the person I intend to become, thereby creating in my mind a clear mental picture of that person. Third, I know through the principle of autosuggestion, any desire that I persistently hold in my mind will eventually seek expression through some practical means of attaining the object back of it. Therefore, I'll devote 10 minutes daily to demanding myself the development of self-confidence. Fourth, clearly written down a description of my definite chief aim in life. Now, I'll never stop trying until I shall have developed sufficient self-confidence for its attainment. Fifth, I fully realize that no wealth or position can long endure unless built upon truth and justice. Therefore, I'll engage in no transaction which does not benefit all whom it affects. I'll succeed by attracting to myself the forces I wish to use, the cooperation of other people. Induce others to serve me because of my willingness to serve others. I'll eliminate hatred, envy, jealousy, selfishness, and cynicism by developing a love for all humanity, because I know that a negative attitude towards others can never bring me success. I will cause others to believe in me because I'll believe in them and in myself. I will sign my name to this formula, commit it to memory, repeat it aloud once a day with full faith that it will gradually influence my thoughts and actions so that I'll become a self-reliant and successful person. Hoorah. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. All right. Good morning, Sean.
Morning.
Writing our journals, five gratitudes, five goals. We'll get some calmer meditation music in. Don't know if you can hear the hell's bells in the background or not, Sean.
No, I can't.
All right. Let's some good meditation. Let's see. Get some classical. So you got to come in here and feel it, bro. Got to have you
Yeah, I
in.
was trying to make it on time, but with the kids, I couldn't get
I
there by
can't hear you.
9.
That's all good.
Okay.
We're just doing five gratitudes, five goals, and we'll hop on it. Getting all calm now, dude. I said I'm all calm now after listening to that. How you doing, Sean? All right. Let's just bring it in if you guys are good with it. Since it's just the four of us here, we got Ken here trying to get you on screen too. Randy, if you don't mind coming on this side over here. That way we can all hop on here with Sean. You can see it on the screen too.
Turn that heat up.
Yeah. Yeah, that'll help. That. Let's board on the side. All right, so just to start off real quick, if you guys don't mind, or if anybody wants to start off with just a win or gratitude, just something to share, just to start from a place of gratitude before we jump into it. Yeah, anything you want to share, Ken?
I did write down some stuff that was different than I normally write, and it's I'm grateful for being able to recognize what I have in front of me. You know, like a lot of times you don't realize what you have. You know, and I'm grateful that I can see the stuff that I have, and I'm also grateful that I have the ability that God's given me the ability to help others. You know, I think that's I've noticed it throughout the last month, several open houses I've done, how I've impacted just total strangers, and they just hang there for hours talking to me. And it's I don't know, I feel like I'm a vessel for that, and I'm appreciative of that. I'm
Yeah,
trying to tune into that a little bit more.
that's awesome, dude. I think that's a great one to share, especially from as long as we've known each other and seeing this year. And it's been a challenging year for all of us in different ways, different challenges, you know, with the new venture. But really seeing, I mean, the one thing that there's no, and you can't put a dollar amount on it, the impact that you've had on me, on every agent that's in here, it's amazing. You can't put a price on that. There's no, I mean, the return you see is seeing people succeed and do well. You know what I mean? Like there's just you can't put nothing on it. You know the impact that you're having, but to be aware of it, I think is really important. And I know the more we continue to do that, and the more that word gets out, it's going to continue to attract more and more success on all levels, right?
Yeah, I mean, the difficulty for me is like Sean, like you, Sean, like you know, I want you to succeed. I don't care about anyone else but you know, and you know, like I care, I like deeply think about that stuff.
Hmm.
Not, you know, like it's weird, like you're gonna get to a point in your life where you've achieved a lot of things, a lot of goals. And yeah, it's cool making a lot of money. Yeah, it's cool doing this stuff. But then you also are like, okay, well, how can I impact people? What can I do to change them and to change their lives? Like, you know, the Jessies and the Aprils and people like that those are recently that we've changed their lives. You know, with things that we've said or done and seeing you grow like you, you know, it makes us proud as, you know, as your friends.
Hmm.
You know, so it's not like we don't want to run a business where it's just like, okay, let's just profit. You know, we want to have everybody succeed equally. And we got to figure out what people need. You know, what is it that they want? But we can't change. You know, people have to come in and do their part,
Hmm.
and that's the frustrating part. And how can we tap into that?
Hmm.
You know, like what do you think has impacted you to all of a sudden start wanting to work versus where you were before?
I think it's just environment is obviously a big factor to it.
Mhm.
Just being surrounded by you guys, being in the office, and then also to just having that guidance to just steer you if you're not going the right direction.
Mhm.
I think just like little tips and advice. I know like when we met one-on-one, talking
Mhm.
about business plan, just little tweaks in
Yeah.
there makes huge differences, and like it pays dividends if you just put in the hard work and the time. It kind of just goes into my like win and my gratitude is like towards the end of each year, always just reflect on how the year went. And it's always just crazy just to see where I am now from where I was before,
Mhm.
and just how all the hard work is always brings on
Yeah.
everything just happens. It's not on your time, it's on its own time. So it's just if you're patient, if you trust the process, if you keep putting in the work, then it all just happens for you. You know?
Mhm.
So
Yeah, what you just said there is the key.
mhm,
And I think what people forget is, we're farmers at first.
mhm,
You first have to plant the seeds.
mhm,
And those seeds is the part that people don't do.
mhm,
Because they feel like their work is not rewarding. It's a lot of, especially people that are used to punching a clock and getting paychecks.
mhm.
There's an instant reward for work. This one is, there's a process to the reward. And you have to do the work. You have to do the work, which is whatever that is. It's all about prospecting.
Mhm.
People, I realized this a long time ago. I used to say to myself when I would meet people that I took it personal when they wouldn't buy immediately or they wouldn't sell immediately. And that wasn't the case. They had something going on.
Mhm.
Like if I would drop a flyer, how come they didn't call me? But the reality is I did stimulate something that started a conversation in the house that said, hey, honey, we need to sell. Problem was not being consistent and following up with a second letter. Because the reality is it takes 3 to 4 letters in front of them to crystallize that and make that move for them. So whose fault was it? It was mine by not continuing to work. And you plant the seed, you got to water it, you got to cultivate it, you got to feed it, and then that'll grow. And we just want fruit, and that's the biggest thing that's hard for all of us, which is crazy because in any other job we work, if we were working a 9 to 5, we'd be working for someone else, busting our butts at a level that you wouldn't believe for peanuts. Yet the reward, like we're getting melons, not cherries here, and yet we'll do 1/8 of the work we did at the other job for a cherry. And it's like we lose focus on what that money really is. And I think Brandon was sharing with me, he had a program that was showing him the amount of money that he's missing out based on his clients. So he has, what was it you were sharing with?
It's on Agent HQ. So on the pipeline, it says your buyer pipeline, your seller pipeline. I have an agent recruiting pipeline on there too. But for each of the buyers, you can put a value assigned to that buyer. And then what it shows is in that category. So like say I have one category of open house leads, right? And if I put a dollar amount on every single person, not that you want to,
You admit something?
yeah, not that you want to count your chickens before you get them, so to speak, right? Because that can screw you up. It can do the opposite effect as well. How do I let them in? I'm not seeing. See, good. I don't know if you can hear me or not. No, I can't. We haven't been able to hear you, Sean. Go ahead, speak up, bud.
Hey, I'm here. I don't know if you
Yeah.
can hear me now.
Oh, there you go.
Okay,
Now we hear you.
now it's on there. It's because of the Bluetooth speaker. Do you say somebody was trying to get in, Ken?
Katie's
Okay,
just
participants.
watching.
Okay, we got Katie, we got George, Sean. Okay, they look like they're all in.
Okay, yeah, we're good.
Yeah, so we're good. Yeah. So hopefully everybody can hear us. And Sean, definitely, I'm pretending like you're sitting right over here, bro. So feel free to chime in if you have a
All right.
question, a point, that you want to add to it. Just want, to make even people that are at home, feel free to unmute yourself. You're not going to get put on the spot. This is just what we found is very effective. The more you put in, you can be on the sidelines or you can go for it and you can and make yourself vulnerable. And yeah, you're going to be uncomfortable. That's growth, right? That's what it takes. You and I, especially early on, the first thing he hit on, if you heard the first word he said, was business plan, right? We did that twice. And I've done it with other agents too. And it used to be a requirement that I had to do for everybody in the office. For every single agent, I had to see their business plan. And out of everybody sending the request out, I'd probably have 5 of them out of 50, right? Less than 10%. But what's interesting is I can't think of one person who gave me their business plan who we legitimately went through it, whether they did it on their own or we spent some time doing it together, that it did not impact their life. And I feel it's one of the most critical, most powerful things that all of us, including myself, need to take the time and sit back. You know, we're always like trying to press, I need business, I need this, I need to do this. And that's where our focus is at. But in reality, we got to see the big picture, right? And some of the things that I've learned from Mike Ferry and other, you know, people who've done insane amounts of things is they're not just focused on the 1 year. It's what's their 5-year plan? What's their 10-year plan, right? And they start working backwards, but they start big and then come small. And then start focusing on, okay, so for this year, as you said, reflect what's worked, what hasn't worked, what didn't turn out the way that I expected to, and what could I have done differently that if I focused and kept it on these things, you know what I mean, it would have changed the results. So what should I have done more of? And one thing that I have to give credit to many of the agents in this office is I feel this is a working office and most agents are out there trying to work open houses, which I'm very proud of because that's already better than 90% of the competition out there. The other thing I'm proud of is that we actually have listings for people to work. And whether it's through us or through the EXP network, we've been blessed with lots of open house opportunities, whether it's our own listings or whether it's Tina's or whether, you know, Jose Luis providing it for us, which has been awesome to create those kind of opportunities that we've had that we struggled getting those. Let's just be blunt, when we were at C21. Whether we didn't have the listings or whether people just weren't sharing, it just wasn't happening. Not to the same level that it's like that opportunity's been opened up. Now, it's more than just working an open house. Ken teaches it in his class. What are you doing before the open house? Are you door dropping? Are you making the most out of every opportunity? Not just sitting and waiting at the open house for a deal to land on your lap. Are you the market expert? Do you know your stuff inside and out? Do you know the switchers? Do you know the other properties on the market? Do you know the buyer rep agreement? For me, that's been the game changer, is knowing that confidently and strong enough to know that I got the edge against all the competition. I know it. I know it going to a listing presentation. I know it when I speak with the buyer. And whether it's true or not, I believe it. And every single person in here has to have the same confidence and belief. Otherwise, they will eat you up and spit you out and not commit to you. It is the biggest test right now is understanding that agreement. Okay. So it's these different little things that you're going to hear a little nugget in each training that's like, okay, yeah, that makes sense. And become more and more aware of the things that make you successful in the business. And that's the reality of what it is. And there are times that we all kind of go out and we go astray or we go do our own thing, but ultimately the ones who come back in, the ones who plug in, and this isn't tooting our own horn, we know what works. That's why Ken and I have stayed connected and why we do what we do. I believe in him, he believes in me. We know we're both better off with each other. And it's every agent that's in here, it's the same thing. It's whatever attraction came in from that birthday call, when I reached out to you to wish you a happy birthday, did I want you to be with us? 100% I wanted you with us. Did I think you were going to come? No. I was just calling to wish you a happy birthday. I care about you. You know, you put in the extra effort in that time when I extended it out to everybody in that office and you stepped up, even though you didn't see the results. Even though you were trying to make your contacts and your calls and set your appointments and you're getting blown off for every reason, right? Don't make enough money. I don't have this. I don't have that. Whatever it is, but you kept doing it. You kept believing. You kept creating your dance videos. You know, you kept doing your thing. You're DJing now. You're having fun. You're being you. And people like you. They want to work with you. They don't want to work with some old, crusty person who's been doing it for 50 years who's got no energy. Hey, don't take any offense here, Ken. But they don't want that. They want youth, bro. They want energy. They want to work with people they enjoy hanging around with. And you're a good dude. And you know what you're talking about. It's like the frickin' triple threat, right? So when you truly understand that and you truly embrace that space, you move in a different type of swagger, different type of conversation. You take the pressure off. The art of this is, how do you make people feel comfortable? How can you make them feel comfortable? Like Ken said, don't take it personally when they cancel. It's hard. Just did it. Just went through it. I made a folder that I'm not proud of. It's my canceled folder, and it's happened a lot this year. But do I stop swinging, or do I keep stepping up to bat? Do I keep going for it? Do I keep taking listen? Do I keep? You have to keep going. That's part of being successful. If you're not missing, if you're not striking out, if you're not canceling, you're not doing enough. You aren't. You're playing it too safe. Do you get what I'm saying? It doesn't work that way. You have to fail. You have to get rejection. If you're not doing the activities to get to what you're capable of. You're playing it way too safe.
Yeah, and what's happening, why you're seeing this happen is the biggest thing that people value is freedom, the freedom of choice. And how they obtain that is by having money. Okay, when you have money, you have freedom. It's a lot easier for you to operate. You can have the choice whether you want that coffee, whether you want this. So as things become more constricted, people really start coveting their money. So the only way to overcome that is by you upping your value proposition of why they need that home. So you have to up your level of game of what you have to offer, what the house has to offer. And you have to, the only way to do that is by the thing is, we're used to a market where it was tenacious and we would meet a buyer and we were rushing to sell them a home, right? And they would automatically go into that process. But the problem is now there's apprehension because they have, things are expensive, interest rates are higher, and they're thinking of their future. So now we have to ask better questions to truly understand someone's needs. You have to figure out what is it, because you're either, and I wrote this whole thing out today, but these are reasons. You have to solve a specific problem, or you have to fulfill a specific need, or create a new opportunity. So how do you solve a problem? Okay, I'm outgrowing my space. My family's growing. You have to, whenever you find out these discovery questions, you have to start game planning your presentation to make someone give up that freedom. You understand what I'm saying? So fulfill a need. I need a better school district. It's not safe where I live anymore. Those type of things. I need to be with my family. Those things will allow someone to release their money. Okay. Create a new opportunity. I need an investment. I need something that this home's it's outperformed. I need a better investment. I need to buy a second home. A lot of people are looking for those but again, all those come from those questions. Being able to ask the right questions you'll be able to foresee the problem that's coming. So if we were just to rush them in, not get them fully qualified, not understand that they really have this debt, that needs to, that you have to sell. What's the opportunity in front of them? And that's going to change and make it a lot easier. And you'll try to, if you can do that and do it well, you're going to keep a lot of these from falling apart. But anyway, I don't know.
Yeah, no, it's good stuff. So I'm just curious because I know that the business plan can seem just tedious, right? What part of it do you think helped you out the most, or what was it that just started clicking for you? Because this year's definitely this has been your best year in real estate, right? Are you comfortable saying how many transactions you've closed so far this year?
5 and then 2 in this year.
Five,
4.
four closed and 2 in escrow right now. That's phenomenal,
And
bro.
what's the price points?
It's all over the place, as low as like mid to high fives to the highest one was like 1.7,
1.7.
Mm-hmm.
How old are you?
25.
25. And see, that's where the only reason I'm bringing that up is because we put a lot of agents I run into believe that they can't do something because of their age, their experience, their youth. You're a prime example of that's not true.
Mm-hmm.
How do you think you were able to overcome? Or how do you think you're able to work with clients to that up to 1.7? Like, how did you get them to trust you? How did you get them to believe that you were their expert?
I think it's just most important thing, like holding their hand and just walking them through the process and explaining it to a way for them to like fully understand what's everything that's going on. I think it just lowers their guard down and makes them trust me a lot more. And like, hey, you know what you're talking about. We really trust you. We really think that you can get the job done. That 1.7, you're working with the previous agent that they felt like he was just blowing them off, like because they were a young couple
Mm-hmm.
and they're like they really wanted a previous house. They missed out on the opportunity because they thought the agent was underperforming for them.
Yeah.
So then they ended up giving me a chance and I met all their expectations. I really listened to them. I did my best to get them a house that they really wanted and won the offer. And I think I just spoke volumes to them.
Yeah, and the reason why I'm having you articulate that
Uh-huh.
is because I want you to realize that. Because that's gonna be your value proposition when you meet someone else.
Mhm.
You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like now, you already have a track record. And that story is perfect. And you know, when you tell that story, it's gonna make the other person have confidence in your ability.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to, sometimes we forget, you know, what brought us, what took place. And the way you just articulated that is something you should journal.
So, and even more, just the ideas coming to me as Kent's talking about it. You talked about expectations, and I want to get back to expectations, but what you can build is what I bring to a listing presentation, right? Where I have my report card, and you can do the same thing, and you print out all your past transactions, and you make a one-line CMA report, right? So it looks like you're doing a CMA of all your past sales. But the reason why you want to do it, and you're going to have something called sound bites. Okay. So we do this in recruiting, and I'm sharing it with you because, I do want you guys to learn these certain techniques that works for finding buyers, sellers, and agents, right? So what a sound bite is a testimonial. It's a story, right? And you got to have one at entry level. So if you're talking to a buyer who's looking at 500,000, well, you have somebody that you help that bought at 500,000. So in 30 seconds, you want to be able to tell a quick example to show them, you know what? Actually, what you're talking about reminds me of Johnny, right? And Johnny, we just started. So you talk about how quickly you met him, how fast you're able to find him a home, how quickly you're able to get them the right home, and the success of that, right? So timing is important, relevance to their situation. Like if you talk about that with somebody at 1.7, right, doesn't connect the dots. So you got an entry level, you got a mid range, and then you got a high level. So you want to have those stories down pat, quick, like real quick sound bites, name, this is what happened, this is the situation, this is how we overcame it, this is how we got them the house that they were looking for. But just like you, they didn't think they could do it in this market. They thought prices were too high. They thought the interest rates were too high. They thought the insurance was too high, whatever, right? You give them that and then you give them the hope, right? And you can do it really quickly. And we do it all the time. We don't even think about it. It's reflex for us because we know that people can relate to stories and now they feel comfortable. Now they know that you have the experience and you're not just blowing smoke. The challenge is when you're first starting out and you don't have those stories. right? That gets harder. So I would use my parents' stories, and I would.
Yeah, you can
And
start
you can use The Office and those online. It's the same thing. Use the success that you're hearing around you and say, you know what? Actually, the situation came up with a termite inspection, and the seller paid for everything, or the buyer ended up paying for it if you're talking to a seller, right? You can hear stories just being in the office, hear how it was handled, and use that as your story. We did this. We did this in that situation. That kind of stuff helps. But so that was part of it that I wanted to share. So try to document that yourself. And I would have a buyer presentation and a seller presentation, and just kind of like a folder of, okay, if I go to a listing appointment, I'm going to have my past sales. I'm going to have, my one-line CMA report, right? That's of the comps that I want them to stay focused on. And I keep it black and white, not a bunch of photos. Then I'm also going to have some printed past marketing material also, so that they see nice quality stuff. But I bring it all together, doesn't mean they get everything. It depends on what they share with me. And you said you met their expectations. How do you know you met their expectations?
Because they really wanted a certain house.
Okay.
And um even though it was different from the first one that they thought they really wanted,
Uh-huh.
when they found this next house, all they really wanted was the house. And for me to be able to deliver that, that was probably like the biggest expectation that they had.
Uh-huh.
I thought that I met that.
That's a major one. That's one of the 4 pillars for you working with the buyer, is getting them the house that they want, right? That's pillar number 2. First is to guide them, like you're their counselor. You guide them through the process. Second is to get them the home that they want. That's huge, hitting it on expectation. Third, negotiating the best terms. 4, overseeing the transaction, right? So those are the 4 things. So that second one you met spot on. But there's also more to it than that, and that's what I'm trying to get you to articulate. Expectations. How do you know what their expectations are? I mean, you figured out the house that they wanted, whether you found it or they found it. Either way, they got it. You helped them accomplish that. But how else do you know that you meet their expectations? Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah, by asking them
Mm-hmm.
questions and understanding exactly what they're looking for.
100%. So you got to take the time to get to know them and know what they're trying to accomplish. You also need to get the time and ask them, what are your expectations in the agent that you want representing them, right? So where did that first agent fall short? And
Delivering the house.
not delivering the house, not really going to bat for them, not really going above and beyond. So you were able to find that out, and then you were able to make sure that you met those expectations. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Expectations is a key word that everybody should be keeping in the top of their head. If you don't know what their expectations are, how do you meet those expectations? Right? You get what I'm saying? It's key. And everything that you do in every relationship, you have to discover what their expectations are.
I wanted to bounce back on the planning, the business plan.
Yeah.
Brandon and I have both been in the position to have to meet with people. That was part of our job,
Mhm.
meet with people and to go over the business plan. Along with that, we've also had training on scheduling, proper scheduling. Otherwise, you just go through the days and your days are over and you do nothing.
Right.
So finding out your key objectives, and goals. You should have 3 main goals and then planning that out in advance, right? But the problem that I found is that people don't want to meet because a lot of times they're embarrassed. They're embarrassed of hearing the truth. They're embarrassed of being held accountable.
You talking about the agents?
Agents.
Yeah.
Yeah, we find this a lot. And the reality is, we don't care. We just want to help them. It's not like, it shouldn't be that way. It should
Right.
be like, let's open up until someone becomes vulnerable and allows us, no matter what level. I've had agents at super peak, like Brandon's helped one of the top agents in our office that needed to go to the next level. You know how hard it is for someone to open up at that level that's already known as a top agent? They'll open up really what the weaknesses are. And it's the only way we can do it. And I've done the same thing. I've
Mhm.
worked with some of the top people.
Mm-hmm.
And only did growth come when we were able to open up and do that? Now, we don't want to know your privacy. We don't, it's not the reason. We don't want to, we're not gonna like go share it with everybody. The only way to get to the root is to figure out what your goals are, sit with people and figure out, because here's what happens. A lot of times, the reality is what we're talking about here is the most important stuff. This is the reality. People want to do business with people they like and trust. Bottom line, but we get consumed with trying to get all this new technology and systems and tools, and everyone will tell us that we're not doing it right because we don't have this fancy website. We don't have a fancy CRM. We don't have, it's irrelevant. It's not important at all. People want you, and they want to know what they want, their hands held, and they want the process to be easy. And they want to have confidence that you're looking out for their best interest. So we have to go back to that. We have to go back. Like I think of Jan Adams, who recently I've spoken to. She's got like 50 sales, maybe 80, to be honest with you, 80 in the last 16 months. She's 80, maybe 82. Okay, she does not have any technology. And why? Because she has confidence, she's knowledgeable, and she's tenacious. At 80 something years old. So like the reason why I'm bringing these stories up is look at the differences. Look at the age of that person, look at your age, and it's irrelevant. Again, it has nothing to do with that. It's what's inside. It's what you're able to articulate. It's what you're able to, what someone's able to perceive. Techniques that we teach you can give you the ability to fill in the gaps of what's missing, so people believe that. You know, so that's really, really important, is understanding what Brandon is saying, is having your abilities come out and share with people what you have to do. Again, I wrote this whole thing today, ironically, and I'll leave it with you so you can share it, but it has to do with that, asking proper questions. Everything is about discovery and sales, period. The thing is that sometimes, and we have a negotiation class that we teach. We learned it from a guy who's a pro negotiator. And when he will point out is the human language has multiple meanings. So sometimes somebody will say something and you interpret it and you think that that's what they want, and you miss out on a sale because you clearly have never taken them out and you've never shown them anything. So sometimes if you guys have, if you're listening online, you have dead leads. We have dead leads because we look on the screen, well, there's nothing there for them, and then we go home and that's it. The reality is you have to take them in a car and show 4 or 5 properties. And sometimes what they even believe will change. Like you said it, the house they bought wasn't the house they wanted. That other person wasn't able to fulfill their needs because that house probably didn't exist. And then they ended up buying just a house that they liked. Is that correct? I mean, is that similar? Is that what you were trying to tell me?
Well, they thought they wanted that first house,
Okay.
and then they came to find out that might have not actually been the right one for them, and they ended up finding something like
How did they come to that conclusion?
I think it was just their own like perceptions, what they thought, their own opinions.
Right.
about it.
So you can pull that out of people.
Mhm.
If you ask questions like, what does the perfect dream home look like for you? See how it's an open-minded, it's an open-ended question?
Mhm.
Now, you're not trying to, you're trying to get them to understand what's important. And the more they elaborate, and then you can say things, they'll say, you know, I want to have a pool, I want to have, how important is a pool to you? Yeah, not really important. You know, it's like, and then you're going, wait a minute, because if you don't do that, if you don't do a follow-up, you're only going to write down, it needs to have a pool, it needs to have this. But if you start asking questions, deeper questions, so I need a 1-story. Let's say they say that. Okay, do you need a one story or can you explain to me? Would it be okay, or would it be okay if if you had a downstairs bedroom? Oh, yeah, that's fine. Well, that's a big difference on opening up what's out there. This is very, very common. Very, very common. Sometimes people will say, I want this, I want that, I want that. And the reality is they can't afford that. So you gotta be careful on not first understanding their budget either. So you wanna first start qualifying under that. Ask those questions, figure it out, and then try to figure out the perfect blend. But discovering, asking deeper questions is gonna help solve and put more escrows in place.
Yeah, no, good things, good points. I want to ask online. So we got Sean. Sean, I hope you're hearing what we're chatting about. Anything you want to add to it, or any questions you have for Randy or for any of us?
Uh, I just think that Ken really hit it on the head when he was talking about like agents being embarrassed to ask for help. Uh, I feel like I'm kind of in that boat right now because I want to be in there and I want to, get the process going. And I feel like at this point I'm just kind of embarrassed to start now when I've been, in it for so long. So
How long have you been doing it, Sean?
uh full time about a year and a half, 2 years.
Okay, so almost 2 years.
Yeah.
And okay,
When I say
no, I
full time, I mean
appreciate you.
without another job, not like actual
Right,
full time.
you're not putting in 40 hours a week of pounding the pavement.
No.
Yeah, well, I appreciate the honesty. So we want to try to change some of that perspective. And maybe it doesn't have to be 40 hours a week, but in reality, what you'll find is if you could commit to 20 hours a week, legitimate 20 hours of work in a week, that can change your whole business. You know what I mean? But what are you doing in those 20 hours? How
Mhm.
effective are you? And it's picking the right type of activities that are a little bit more aggressive just in terms of higher risk, higher rejection, um, to generate more results or being more specific and more intentional of who you're communicating with, right? But again, things that we figure out on a more regular coaching basis. So it's one of the things we've talked about doing before. But it takes first just recognition of understanding it's like, okay, what's preventing me from seeking help and getting help, right? And if it's because of my own pride, my own, just embarrassment, we got to get past that. We got to get to that level. And you're not the only one, I guarantee, that's on here
Common.
that feels the same way. We all do. And we do it. Ken and I do it all the time. And we have these conversations all the time. And it's still, I wrote it in our notes. Him and I need to get together for our business plan for the office, for what our goals are for 2025. How do we plan out the year, right? Try to figure out our quarterly events, all the things. We're going to set that up. But then we got to talk about our own business, and we got to help each other and see each other's blind spots, right? Because he sees things that I don't see and vice versa. I see it,
Yeah,
you know?
here's the thing, Sean, it's like the fish I caught in the past is irrelevant.
Right.
I still have to feed my family. I can tell you stories that of when everything I was ranked at this level. I sold 20 something homes a month.
Right.
Pointless now. That's gone. That money's gone. That money's spent. What am I doing today? What action am I taking today?
Mhm.
I have to, you can't live in the past. It's irrelevant. No, nothing you did in the past matters. People do that to gloat. They can say, yeah, I did this. Doesn't help the situation. Bottom line is I have to get back out there still, even at this point in my career. I still have to go do open houses. I still have to prospect. I still have to run this company. We have to do everything that we set forth. Yeah, our level of what we're doing is at another level, but I still have to do it. If I don't, everything dies. I have to keep providing, have to keep growing, now, are my intentions and goals different? Yeah, they are. But here's the biggest thing for you, Sean, is like you admit it right now that it's embarrassing, and that's awesome that you're able, because that's not everybody, a lot of people That's their biggest thing. But I'll tell you, that goes further than that. What I found is that there's a mindset that has to change within yourself too, and others as well. Because what'll happen is, let's say I want to go get fit. And I know that this is my program, my workout program, this is what I need to eat. And I know what not to eat. But yet still, at night, I'll open the fridge and go binge or go eat whatever, and no matter what, I still want to eat it. And I'm just fighting myself. So until you get over your own self-limiting beliefs, we can't go to the next step. Because if you don't come in and start working, you have to start. Like like I've known, like, not to put you on the spot, but you've said it's time for me to get going. It's time for me to start. You got to take one step forward. You got to, even if it's just one open house, one step, one baby step. I sent you a bunch of videos on the open house class. What did you think of those videos?
Haven't watched them.
You have not watched them?
No, I have not. Like I said, I'm embarrassed, that I haven't been putting the work in, and part of it is just procrastination, kind of depressed, that kind of stuff, and I'm just kind of just postponing everything because everything seems like I have to climb a mountain now, and I can't even take a step right now. So it's
Yeah.
kind of
So that's a common thing. You don't want to keep thinking what you're saying is common. It's a common thing. And the reality is we just need you to take one step. So what do you think we could do to help you out as a group or as us as leaders that would get you going and starting?
I mean, I think I just need to be in the office and just have a little more discipline, and like I need a better schedule, basically. I can procrastinate the whole day away if I let myself, so.
Yeah, and see, and here goes the thing. If you worked a 9 to 5 job, if you were your boss, would you fire yourself or would you give yourself a raise?
No, no, I would have fired myself a long time ago.
Yeah. So you have to start holding yourself accountable as an employee of your own. And that's when you're self-employed, you're the boss.
Hmm.
You have to start holding yourself accountable.
Yeah.
We
Biggest problem
and it's
too
like-
was, sorry.
No, go ahead.
Oh, I'm just, a big problem was when I was with Keller and I was putting in the hours and working, 30, 40-hour weeks and going into the office every day. I didn't see any outcome. I saw, I had one deal last year and one referral this year. And it seems like maybe I was just putting the hours into the wrong things. And I just need to kind of focus better, I guess.
Yeah, two things are happening there. And one is that you're putting hours in the wrong things. And that's one. Number two is because of the way you feel right now, it shows.
Hmm.
And people don't want to do business with someone that they themselves are not confident with. If I'm taking the most, like, imagine you being the pilot of a plane, or not a pilot of a plane, but let's say I want to jump out of a plane and you're in charge of that schooling. And you're coming up to me and trying to convince me to jump out of the plane. I need someone that's confident and knowledgeable and showing me that, hey, I'm going to be okay. That's the way people feel when they're selling their home and when they're buying a home. And I told you earlier, freedom is me having security, me having money. If you're not making me feel secure, you're not giving me freedom, the freedom of choice, the freedom that what I'm buying is going to be better, I'm not going to do it. And if, like Brandon was saying about the buyer broker agreement, if someone can see, and I've been guilty of this, I've been thinking, man, this thing sucks. And I've had apprehension of people signing it. I had to get over that. And I had to, because people can read you real quick. It's like poker. your poker face right now is not good. You know, so you got it. That's the face you need. That smile.
Mm-hmm.
Smiling will supersede everything.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
That's actually a technique. So smiling gives off confidence. And that's what you need. You need it, even if like you have to, like Tom Hopkins would say, kind of day is it today? You know, it's a great day. It's always a great day, right? What was the thing he used to say when he was how's it going today or something? I forgot. He had a saying, no matter what, it fit the bill. No matter, even if it was shittiest day ever, it would fit the bill.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's a fantastic day. It's or no, what's the word he would use? It was like I forgot what it was.
Yeah.
But the point is, you're gonna have to first change this. First, then take a step in, and then figure out a game plan and do the steps that are necessary. But what you're feeling is not uncommon. A lot of times people will go and just disappear for this reason. That's why you don't see them, is that they're also embarrassed.
Can I touch on
Yeah, go
some
ahead.
things real
Yep.
quick? So it's the biggest things, there's a reset. You need to have a reset, right? And you got to figure out for yourself, how can you reset it? You got to let go of the past. Whatever happened at KW, it was a different company. I'm not going to bash them. Different environment, different. It is what it is. You made the right move by getting out of that. Now you're giving this a shot, but are you really giving it a shot?
Not yet, no.
And in reality, right, in reality, and it's not just admitting it, that's good, but it's taking action. He sent you these videos. Ken's spending time putting his gold on video, and to not even take 5 minutes to at least try it, it's you've already lost. Like you've lost before you've even started. So how do I change that? And I literally was having this conversation with an agent she was giving some props and saying, "Hey, I love seeing you're kicking ass right now, and like I'm rooting for you, and I see all these good things." And I just, you know, in my head, and I appreciate it, but in my head, if my back's up against the wall, there is no other option but to win, but to figure out a way to succeed. You have to convince yourself of that. You got to look at it as like, okay, my kids are counting on me, my wife's counting on me. I don't care what your wife does, how much money, I don't care. You have to convince, dude, she could kick you to the curb tomorrow, right? That's the truth of it. I'm glad you're smiling, but in my head, if I were in your position, I'd be like, fuck, man, if I don't get my stuff together, you know what I mean? Like, if she doesn't see that I have it in me, why should she, regardless if I'm the best dad in the world? I can be the best dad, and she could have another partner. And I'm not trying to put fear in your head, but it's, bro, we're not guaranteed tomorrow. I got a good friend who was a winner, who made everything happen and gave his family the house they wanted, and now he's dead a year ago, 2 days. The anniversary was 2 days ago. He's gone. Period. He's out. No more nothing. No more contribution. Doesn't matter what he figured out. Doesn't matter any of that stuff. Now his wife's trying to figure it out on her own. Loves him deeply. It's crazy. It's the craziest thing. But all that shows me is that if I gotta say a few things, and I'm not trying to come off too hard at all or pressing, but something has to happen up here first. And you have to figure out for yourself. I know for me, I know what book I'm going to read. Some people can guess which book, Think and Grow Rich. I'm going to listen to Napoleon Hill. I'm going to listen to Bob Proctor. Ken saw the transformation of me when I made my major life change and committed to our dream of doing this. And he saw that I was like, did I make the right move? What did I just walk away with? Was I ready for this move? None of it. I wasn't ready for any of it. But I had to figure out a way to make it work. And you got to talk to yourself in the same way of thinking of, okay, there are no other options. There's no other lifelines. Nobody's going to come out and save me. What do I need to do? And I'm grateful that I saw my dad in the same business, lock himself in the room, go through the yellow pages and call every single person in order until he got a listing. Luckily, it was in 4 calls, took a listing. So he thought every 4 calls he'd take a listing. Guess how many more calls after that first one it took before he found his next one? Hundreds of calls. hundreds of calls, saw him sending out letters, saw him door dropping, saw him putting in whatever it took, because he went from the military, guaranteed housing and everything, to real estate, the most extreme opposite you could go to. But he would never, ever not let us down as a family. You have to put yourself in that mentality, and you haven't done it yet. And we've talked about it, and I know why. But you got to get past that. That's the crutch that's going to keep you from being what you're capable of being. And there's a reason why your wife loves you and your kids love you, and that's great. But they got to see something, man. You're gonna do things for them that when they grow up and they're talking to their friends about how much of a badass their dad is and the things he came through with. That's the stuff you got to start thinking about now. I'm serious, man, because it's gonna have more of an impact of just being there. So, yeah.
I'm agreeing with him, and I'm telling you, the reason why I'm chiming in right now, and not to give you fear, whatever, but literally my friend Alan, he was in the same situation as you. Wife made a lot of money. I don't know your situation of that, but he was comfortable, is what I'm saying. And he didn't do anything. His wife left him. I'm not saying that's your situation. I'm just giving you an example of my friend that just went through this. So we see him the other day. It's been 3 years. Guy hasn't gone on a new relationship. And I said, Alan, and he's a good looking dude. I go, Alan, why? He goes, because I love my wife. But it was heartbreaking.
Yeah.
He goes, dude, I don't want anybody else. I messed up.
Yeah.
And I wasn't a good example. I swear to you,
It's crazy.
just happened. So what I want to tell you is I wrote down some key things here. I had a boss where one time something happened and I was freaking out at work, and he was a mentor of mine. And I went in and I called him up and I said, man, I just gotta tell you this happened at work and I can't sleep. He says, Ken, let me tell you something. When I go home, you think I think about you and what you did, and what's going on in your day? He goes, no, nobody does. Nobody cares about anybody but themselves, because everyone's got enough crap on their plate. You got to stop thinking that people are, like you said, it's embarrassing. It's only embarrassing to you. None of us here are going to go home and think, boy, that's Sean. He because we all have a lot of hard stuff going on in our lives. So once you realize that, hey, embarrassment's an excuse. That's it. Embarrassment's an excuse. You're only embarrassing yourself in your head. We don't care. We want to care. We want to help you. But the reality is, I got enough stuff to deal with. That was a hard lesson for me to learn. And it impacted me a lot. And maybe it doesn't make sense to you, but one day it will. People have a lot of crap going on. Everybody has problems. Everyone has something going on. Something's happening.
Mm-hmm.
George used to tell us that if we ask the room, raise your hand if you're dealing with a situation right now, with your health, with someone you know that has health, the whole room would raise their hand. Everybody's got shit going on. These things that you have going on it's mental. In your own, you're comfortable. You need to break through that. You need to go and walk into the gym. You need to put that chocolate bar aside. You need to go do 1 rep. And look, that Simon Sinek guy that talks about, do you love your wife? If you've ever heard that saying,
Mhm.
that script he does. He says, the guy says, yeah, I do love my wife. How do you know? When was the first time you realized you loved your wife? He says. And he goes, you can't put a time on it, because it's a culmination of little things.
Mm-hmm.
It's like brushing your teeth. You wake up, you brush your teeth. Wake up, you brush your teeth. You go get it. It's like, that every day you got to brush your teeth to have good health. It's the same thing. For order to have an outcome for you to be successful, you're gonna have to do the mundane work that it takes
Mhm.
to start and do things. That's one thing. The other thing, when I was telling you about the market business planning, sometimes you don't even realize there's things in front of you that you're doing that are successful, and there are other people, outside forces that are trying to teach you other things that you think are better. This happened with Jesse, and I can, Jesse's given me permission to speak freely about situations. So just, I'm not talking behind him. He's given me permission to use examples to help people grow. There was a time I was doing his business plan with him because we would meet. And he went from doing all these closings to doing nothing all of a sudden. And I said, what's the problem? And he says, I'm not doing this. I go, okay. I go, well, let's go over. What were your sales last year? This and that. How did you get that? I did this, I did that, I did that. Okay. What's the problem now? I need to do this. Well, you know what he said to me? Had nothing to do with the sales that created the sales from the past. I said, how did you come up with that? This person that's coaching me told me that. So this person that's coaching you is having you do something that's not working, and you've given up on everything that did work. When I told him that, and he realized it by seeing it in writing, he literally started to cry. And I am not kidding you, dude. Like, I'm being, because he felt like he was taken for a fool. It's not that I'm making fun of him. It's not that he's embarrassed. He didn't even see it. He didn't even see the fact that he was door dropping before. He was doing open houses. He stopped all that. And I said, why aren't you doing that? He says, because it's a cop out, he told me. I said, what does that mean? He goes, I want to be better at having listings. I said, did you not sell 8 or 9 homes? Well, yeah, but that was from door dropping. Oh, and what? It got you an opportunity. And he knew every 1,000 doors he dropped a paper, it led to 1 listing appointment. Why would you stop that? I've met with other agents, same situation, not even just, I'm bringing up another one. I'm not doing anything, but you had 20 sales last year. What did you do? Well, that came from my farm. Well, what are you doing now? I'm building a website. Well, why did you stop doing the farm? Because I was told I need a website. You need another farm. You see what I'm saying? We all do this. We lose sight because desperation sets in, panic sets in, because the water's not turned on. It's not flushing in anymore. It's not coming in. And the reality is we need to just do what works. We just need to do what works. And I even have to do that. I had to go back to basics. Go be in front of people. Lastly, I will tell you, when I met with Brandon, and he says he's talking about his transformation and his fears and what he left. You know how pissed it was to see someone as successful, as talented as Brandon, being handcuffed to a paycheck as an employee? I respect this guy more than anybody I know. He's one of the smartest people I've ever met. And to see him handcuffed to the limitations that someone put on him drove me nuts. Would you not agree that he's one of the smartest guys you ever met? One of the most talented guys you ever met? Why should he make this when he should be making that? That's why I dragged him out of that. Even though he was kicking and screaming. But I know it's now he's seeing it.
Mm-hmm.
And he came up to me the other day and he said, I was handcuffed to my job and now I'm able to work. And he's kicking ass. Because no one has more talent than this guy. I'm not just stroking his ego. It's what I see. And how, so my point, why I'm sharing that, you need a business meeting. You need someone to tell you what's missing. We all need, he's kicked me in the place. You need an we're doing this right now. Look, there's 5 people here. This is the most accountable meeting you can have. You can go to Tech Tuesday all day long. That's great. It's not gonna get you moving forward. But people chase these shiny objects. I gotta get a CRM. Of what? What are you gonna put in it? 15 years I ran on a notepad.
That's what I'm saying. This is what I need. This, that whiteboard, and my cell phone. Those are the 3 things I need. You got internet access, you got your zip forms, you can do business, you got a printer here. You need a phone, you need a whiteboard to keep your goals and your focus, and your journal. And so I wrote a list real quick because, I mean, Sean, do you want me to share it with you?
I mean, yeah, I don't want to make the meeting all about me. So if you got other things to
No,
talk about, we can talk about this later.
Yeah. No, I'm appreciative that you opened up and said what you said. Now, the key is whether you want to take action in 2025 and do something and trust what we're trying to share with you that other leaders and mentors have shared with us that we've had to spend sometimes thousands of dollars to go to events. Unleash the Power Within. I wrote that down. Like I wrote all the things that I've gone through, that I've experienced that cost money, cost time, cost energy to figure things out so that I know how to reset when I need to reset, right? And that's what I see with you is first you just need a reset button. Forget the past. I know it's not easy to do, but you have to put an official reset and say, look, I'm gonna start off as a clean slate, like I'm a brand new agent. It doesn't matter how long I've been doing it. None of that stuff matters. But you erase all that, and then you got to open up. So I wrote this down. I don't know if you have a pen next to you, but I think every single person should write this down and try to think of, okay, for 2025, that's crazy, 2025 coming up, how can we implement this as a group and work together to help each other achieve what we're capable of? And I've been on the fence about doing it, but I'm going to do it again. And for anybody that wants to be a part of it. So the first thing is what you listen to. So you need to identify, what do I need to listen to? Right when I wake up in the morning, you need to get some AirPods, put them in your ears before you start going down your regular, what everybody does. The challenges, the problems, the negative crap. Somebody said something that pissed you off. Could be somebody you care about, whatever, right? All that negative stuff starts and it already throws you on the wrong track. So you need to put those AirPods in your ears and have a playlist of who you like listening to on Audible, whatever, and I'll help you with the list. And if you got people you like, just start listening to that right out the gate, okay? Second thing's writing in your journal. I'd said 5 and 5, you should be doing 10 gratitudes, 10 goals every single morning. And I'm telling you, definitely get to Monday through Friday, but you should do it on the weekends too. This is the stuff that when you start writing what you're grateful for 30 days, watch what happens. That's just your gratitudes. But more importantly, you got to know where you're heading and you got to put your goals out. When you're trying to plan your goals, don't worry about what you've done in the past. You can do things that all you need to come up with is, what do I know I want to make? Whatever amount of money it is, don't try to figure out, well, I have to do 10 transactions to make that amount. And I've never closed 10. Screw all that stuff. Don't worry about how you're going to get there. Just focus on what you need and what you want and what you want to do. And if it's something that's driving from an emotional place, that's good. So like I can share something about, I was sleeping in my son's bed because he kept coming to my room and he was like, I'm hearing footsteps, I'm hearing this, I'm hearing that. So I go lay in his bed. As I'm laying in his bed, a couple things I noticed. One, I could hear everything down the street because we live on a busy intersection. Not just our street. It's like 2:00 in the morning. I'm hearing it on our Neal Road, which is a really busy road down the street. I can't stand that my kids can't just get good sleep just in the house that we're in. Then I'm thinking, okay, it's freezing cold next to his wall where his bed's at. So I'm like, I need to insulate the walls, right? I gotta figure something out because I can't just sell my house and then buy a house tomorrow because I quit my other salary position. So I'm 2 years out from doing anything. I know it. I've gone through this process before. I know what it's going to take. So at a minimum, I got to stay here for 2 years. So what that starts driving me already in my head, I'm already visualizing what that perfect home looks like. Whether here in California or somewhere else, I'm visualizing that. You get what I'm saying? It's already coming. And I know it's probably a 2-year plan because of what has to happen qualification wise, unless I'm able to pay all cash and just close enough business. But what I'm trying to tell you is if you have something like that that drives you crazy because you care about your kids and your wife and these things, there's nothing that'll give you more power to do the mundane things that Ken's talking about, that you're going to have to get in and start going through the motions, right? So write it down. Number 3, memorize the self-confidence formula. That's what we just started with this morning. Google search it. Buy the book Think and Grow Rich. Go to Barnes and Noble. There's a workbook version, and then it says the mastermind version. I'll take a picture of it, but we're going to start the book soon. So you might as well go out there and buy that for your Christmas present for yourself and get that going, because we're going to go through that book together, and you're going to get a lot of clarity in the next 3 months of what we're talking about here. Okay. Number 5, or actually 4, I got Read, Think, and Grow Rich. We're going to do that together. 5, business plan. We're going to work on your business plan as small or big as it needs to be, as detailed as it needs to be. But the first thing we got to come up with is how much business do you need to do? And then start working our schedule with that and forming our schedule. 6, I put Unleash the Power Within. That's Tony Robbins. Not saying you have to go to that particular event. From what you've shared with me, I think that one would have the biggest impact on you. That's probably a $1,500 event, the next one that comes up. They do it on Zoom. You got to go there in person. You might get COVID. You got to go deal with it, dude. You got to go out there and experience it. If you don't do that, you got to do some big event. Mike Ferry's production retreat's really good out in Vegas. He does it in San Diego. You got to pick one event that you need to commit to, but you need to go all in with an open mind and take as much notes as you can. You got to start creating these things that people have taught me that I never did that stuff before. And once I started doing it, it's like you get a taste of it and you got to keep getting it. And it just helps me refocus, reset. I've never come from one of those events and not done more production afterwards.
I want to add something too. You know, you not saying that you are, but you're looking at this as a source of income, which is obviously why we work, right? The reality is, until you start looking at it from a place of giving, the income's not going to come in. You got to figure out your purpose of why you're in this business.
Mm-hmm.
Why are you doing it? You have to have joy in what it is that you do in order for it to yield you money. So if it's something like, a lot of times people come in and go, look, I don't care about that person. I just want to close it and want to get paid. And that's okay. But that doesn't work. It just doesn't. It's short. It works for a short period of time.
Yeah.
Figure out your purpose. Figure out why you're doing this. Figure out and you have to enjoy doing it.
Yeah. And we're
It
good.
can't be painful.
We'll get there. And I'm telling this formula I'm giving you right now, I'm not joking. This formula will give you those answers. It's going to give you where you can understand the purpose that Ken's talking about. Now, if I said, figure out what your purpose is before we're going to take any steps on any of this, you may never get there because you haven't been opened up to it. You haven't been enlightened with a lot of these key things that I'm sharing with you. The last 2 that I wrote after the event, 7 and 8, is weekly group coaching. You may have to pay for it, or you can do what we can do here, okay? But you're going to get what you're paying. So if you're paying nothing, bro, that's what you're getting out of it, right? And you'll get some out of it. But again, if you are paying for it, you're going to get more out of it. Then the final thing is your weekly schedule. So you need to start every single week, start formulating what your schedule is. If you can do it on Sunday nights is the best. If Sundays don't work, no later than Monday. But Sunday, Monday, you got to figure out, okay, these are the activities I need to do this week. And I'm going to help you have more of a listing focused week or buyer focused week, either ones. And a secret for me that I can share with anybody right now is I've been more buyer focused, even though I'm taking more listings right now. I've been more buyer focused lately because I know it's easy to get buyers' offers accepted right now. So buyers in the past, I've always stayed away from. Not always, but once I started doing more in leadership, I tried to shift to almost 80% listings, 20% buyers. And I was literally giving away all my buyers or having somebody work those buyers for me because I was in an office in Simi that I went out to 40 hours a week. So I had to be very careful with my time. Now, I'm running out to show any property that I need to show, and I'm signing a buyer rep agreement. And I'm just focused on signing a buyer contract or listing contract, at least one a week. And realistically, it's been like 2, 3 a week. No joke, no exaggeration. But my focus has been more buyer focused. So when everybody's trying to go after listings, buyers are where it's at right now. Okay. So those are 8 things that I wrote out. Let's talk a little bit more in depth. I'm hoping everybody who's on here wrote those things out too. Ken and I are going to get together and try to come up with our plan for the next year. For any of you that need a template for a business plan, just shoot me a message. If you send me an email, I can forward it to you. And then we can start with that. There's a few different templates you can go with. You just need something to have some direction for 2025 of what you want to do. What do we got on here, Katie? What version of the book? I'll go grab it right now. It's a mastermind volume. You still got yours, Randy, or do you need to get one? The Think and Grow Rich? You never got one? All right, well, you get one for Christmas, right? So these are the versions right here. Think and Grow Rich. It's the mastermind volume. This is the workbook, okay? You guys are, if you trust me with this, I've taught it now, I think at least 3 or 4 times. I've seen it literally change people's lives, and it's no exaggeration. When COVID hit was the first time I did it on Zoom, and I actually was not with C21, I was with Veteran Home Services. And I stayed connected with my favorite people at that time that were into these types of books. And we did it, and we saw people like Lisa Cozen, who the year before that, she was already like a rising star, did like 10 deals. That year, she did over 20 transactions. When for 3 months, we couldn't do anything. Everything was by Zoom, right? And you had to do a PED form, and they had these new changes, and you couldn't even literally go inside houses. She still did 20 transactions that year. I think I did 20 something, like 21, 22 that year. Another guy, Jesus Langren, had another big productive year. Teresa Robledo, who does like 30 transactions a year, she had a phenomenal year. Brenda Slayton, who's with Consumers Title. So we all did it, and it actually almost turned into like a spiritual group, because we had Jesus was very spiritual. His name's Jesus, so of course he's got to be spiritual, right? And then Teresa Robledo as well. And they literally would start off with a prayer. Like, it got so strong and it was so powerful. I can't even explain it. Sharon Miyahara, who's with Berkshire Hathaway, she was in there. She brought another girl that was a part of it. So when I started seeing the power of this, going through this book together, we do literally 1 chapter a week. We read it on our own. You got to read it, Sean. You can't just not do it. I said, you got to actually put in the work and do it. And then when we go, then there's a set of questions. That's why we use this version of the book, because at the end of each chapter, you have your questions. And the questions, when people actually do them and they go through them and read them, everybody got to pick a question. So like this one says, first question is, what's the most helpful idea from this chapter for you? Which is very generic. It could be anything, right? Second one, how does the story of Edwin C. Barnes inspire you? I can already tell you that story because I've read this book probably close to 10 times now. Bob Proctor, when he got that over 40 years ago, read it every single day for 40 plus years and became one of the wealthiest, most intelligent, success, personal development people that are out there. And he passed away not too long ago. And that's the guy that Ken was listening to when him and I opened this company. And then I started listening to it because he was. And as I started listening to it, I started changing.
Dude, I'm not even gonna exaggerate. I'm honest. I swear to you guys both. I've never seen someone's face change when it came to Brandon. Like literally, I would see him come in and he was in a wrong spot.
It's because I had to see his face every morning, man.
That stuff.
Uh-huh.
One day he walked in and it was like holy crap, this other person. And then literally the next 2 days, things started happening. And after that, it was forget it. It was over. That just his mindset changing. Just changing his mindset. It's more important than any other thing you can do.
Mm-hmm.
And it's one of the toughest things to do. Having the right mindset. This little thing right here may seem like it's not a big deal. It's huge.
Mm-hmm.
You're gonna leave here, you're gonna be pumped.
Yeah.
And this is what we need to continue to do as a group. That's why
Well,
Carnegie and all those people had their mastermind groups. It's that they would have these conversations. They would do these type of things. That's what Brandon's talking about. But I'm just telling you,
yeah.
no, we're not all better than one another. We all suffer from the same stuff. I've seen the change and the transformation just from putting his mindset in the right spot, his alignment. We all need alignments. We get off track.
Mm-hmm.
And Sean, you know, real quick, how much does it take for that, if you hit a ball to be out of alignment? What
Just
are
a
the
little bit.
effects of that?
Yeah, it's just a
Yeah,
little bit
just a
and
little,
makes a huge difference.
and you're completely off course.
And that's a great example. And to wrap it up, Sean, all you need is this little tweak, bud.
Yeah.
It's not a major transformation. This may sound like a lot of work. It's not.
Yeah.
It's just understanding the recipe and the formula. Once you learn the formula, you figure out. So something will happen to me. I get hit with the curveball, my go-to now, after going to unleash the power within. He talks about hitting yourself, like doing something physical to shake out of whatever negative funk you're in. You can't, if you're feeling like crap, he's like, you need to get up, you got to move around. They had this other guy play some music. He's like, shake your ass right now. He had everybody in the same. So he's like, just start shaking your ass, get up here, start dancing. He's like, are you mad? Are you upset? You can't be. You can't be pissed off and dancing and shaking your ass. You know what I mean? Like in this black guy, of course, who's going up there. Nobody quote me on that, right? But he's the one going up there telling everybody to do that. But you have to change your chemistry. You get what I'm saying? Like you can't stay in the same. That's why doing and taking action, they talk about it in Think and Grow Rich, that people had to go to war and literally put their lives on their line and they're in fear of dying. So how do you overcome that? It's the repetition of courageous acts. They would keep doing it and doing it and doing it and doing it. They were still afraid, but that's how they overcame it. They never lost the fear. They learned how to not let the fear choke them out. They didn't try to avoid it and got choked out. They learned how to deal with it. They learned how to go through it. They learned how to take these, repetitive, courageous acts to overcome it. And that's what you're going to learn how to figure out how to do. We have to learn ourselves. It's all within us. And as we do, good things start happening. And then it's cool when the law of the momentum starts going. I'm telling, there's a list of books I can give you that it will all help up here, which helps everything else around us. You know what I mean? So wanted to talk with this as we were talking about before we started, wanted to make today more of a reset mindset, kind of acknowledge what's working, what's not working. But for moving forward, we're going to do something like this once a week, right? So our Wednesday days to start with, it's going to be a little bit of mindset and skill set. And then what we'll do is we'll probably have it on Fridays. Now we have Caravan on Fridays, so it changes a little bit, but we used to do Think and Grow Rich on Fridays. Okay. So you have all week to read that chapter. Friday we get together. So we'll probably make it on Wednesdays and Fridays will be the 2 days. So if you can come into the office 2 days, pick those 2 days to come in. Okay. You're going to get a lot out of it. And Sean, I'm hoping you want to do it and want to be a part of it. Randy and everybody who's online. I know we got George. I know your restrictions with work, and then Katie, you definitely got to be a part of it, Katie. You're here in Camarillo, so would love for you to be there. I'm glad you asked for which version of the book. But let's all get it before January 1st. Okay, so the goal is we're going to kickstart this January 1st. You guys want to start reading ahead of time? Get a head start on it. There's most chapters are 30 pages. There's one chapter that's like 60, but again, I've done it so many times, I know to split that one up. And then it starts getting hard at about like week 5 to 7. The first 5 chapters are actually really good, and you're going to get a lot out of it. Then you got to stick through it. You know what I mean? And just trust it, trust the process and what the impact can be. But no, I think for every single one of us, it's only going to help us all kickstart in the right way. And you're going to learn about the mastermind and working together as a group. But we'll wrap it up. Guys, anything online? Katie, George? I know I didn't hear from either of you. I got your message, Katie. let's see. Says you're not alone, Sean. Carissa, thank you. We got this. Yep. Learn on your team or lean on your team. Yeah, no, thanks. Sean, appreciate you being open, bro. And believe me, there's no judgment here, man, from any of us. It's not the kind of group. If anybody's judging, that's their own issue. That's not
Yeah.
something you need to, I'm serious. It's not something you need to worry about. Just come in here, do your thing, man. We are all rooting for you and every single person that's in here. And you becoming the success of what you're capable of. I'm telling you, we've seen crazier things of people who were not as talented as you are. You have the talent. We know it. And you already look more relaxed and in a better spot. You know what I'm saying? So that's all we need. And if you show up like that and just open, let's get to work. And yeah, we're all doing stuff, man, but let's plan some time and get it into the schedule. And if you put in the commitment, we're here. But if we put in the commitment and you're not, it's not going to last very long. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? So you just do it. You know what I mean? Just go for it, and we're going to make it happen. See, 5 new messages. Okay, I'm missing all this here. So we got Ken. I'll tell my daughters this when they're struggling with embarrassment or anxiety during softball all the time. I love that you said it. No one thinks about you and your mistakes more than you do because they're more focused on themselves. Yep, that's awesome. Version of the book. Thank you, Brandon. You're the man. Thanks, George. I'm good. Text you guys the link before I just buy in case. Perfect. Yeah, I'll double check that. But yeah, guys, no, I appreciate you all hopping on. What's today? It's December 4th. So we got hoping you're all coming on the 17th. Are you able to make that, Sean? Do you know if you have that Tuesday available?
For the office
the-
party, is that what we're talking about?
Yeah, the holiday party.
Yeah, I'll make it.
Cool. Awesome. Well, hopefully you can, if your missus is able to join us too, you guys can come through. If you guys can get babysitters, should be a good time that night. So we got the 17th. Is there anything else that I'm forgetting?
We got a new DJ.
Oh yeah, we got our DJ. DJ's gonna be here. Yep.
So if you miss out, it's on you, man.
Yep. And then yeah, we're gonna do a white elephant. I think like $30 gift if you guys want to participate in that. Yeah. And then should have plenty of drinks here. This Friday, I think they're doing something in Old Town. If you guys are in the area, anybody wants to do it. It's like I think the cost is like 20 per adult. Kids are free. And then they have Santa, they got, certain people are serving drinks. So something in Old Town, if anybody's trying to do something here out of the office. I know it's short notice, but just giving you a heads up if you wanted to do that. But other than that, I think we're good.
I'm gonna be on the Friday caravan and see me this Friday.
Cool.
So I'll be there, Sean, if you want to go with me on caravan Friday.
Yeah, I'll be there then for sure. Real quick while I have
Awesome.
you, Ken, is there any way
Yep.
you can you can email me those videos because I can only get them on my phone because you texted them. I'm not sure how to like transfer it to my computer so I can watch them, on my big.
I'll try.
Okay,
It's a
if
big
not-
ordeal with some of those.
Okay, got it. I'll figure it out.
Try to maybe screen share it on your laptop or something.
Okay, cool.
Okay.
All right, thanks, guys. That was very helpful. I'll see you guys
right.
tomorrow morning. I'll be in. So
Sounds good. All right, guys, have a good one.
you too. Later,
See
Amy.
you.
Yeah.